Okay, listeners and viewers, welcome to another episode of The Mentors. I got to say, we have a very, very special guest on today's show. He's flown all the way from LA, but he's got a really interesting story which may resonate from you. But if you've heard of a little company called F45, you're going to listen to one of the founders that's going to join us in a moment, and that is Marc Marano. So, Marc, firstly, thanks for stopping by, for joining us.
Thanks. Glad you're Matt.
Okay, on the show, as always, we've got the wonderful Matt LaHood, Clinton, and we've got a couple of special guests here. We've got Thomas McGlynn, and we've got Fane, who's also probably going to shoot a couple of questions and joining us for a couple of other episodes on this week's show. So, firstly, let's hear a bit about Marc's story, because he was, when he started his career, was in real estate. And, from real estate, I've known Marc for a long time, Matt. I think for you gentlemen here, I think I've known you for how long? 6 years? 7, 8, maybe more?
20?
20? Okay, 20 years. That long?
6.
Okay.
You're recording now, Clint?
Yeah, you're recording now. We've known each other for a very, very long time. He's been a brother like to me, which has been great. We had an association as a friendship, as a coach, one-on-one. And I remember one day saying, I'm leaving real estate. And I was like, whoa, what are you doing? And he's gone on to start this amazing evolution of F45 around the world. He's taken it global, and he's got a really interesting story. So I think you guys just put the volume up. You better listen to this, because this is you might take some gold nuggets out of this. And there could be some people right there that, we hear that don't go to skip to work, right, Matty?
Yep.
That we do. So tell us a little bit about your story first, Marc, because where it all started in real estate. We know you grew up in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, left school, and then sort of family business. That's, it's an icon around the inner city of Sydney. So tell us all about it.
So I'll start from the beginning, I guess. It's a good place to start.
Are we recording? Yeah, just checking.
Yeah, unfortunately, in 1999, my father passed away. At that time, he was running Oxford real estate with his brother and my cousin, Marc Marano. I was advised that I needed to jump into the business to fill in there. Unfortunately, a couple of months later, his brother and my uncle also passed away.
Wow.
So myself and my cousin operated Oxford from 1999 up until recently. The family's still running there. I'm very proud of all the work they're doing there. The business, every time I come back overseas, I see more and more boards everywhere. So I'm really proud.
3 generations, right?
4 now. So
4.
Michael's 2 sons and daughter are now in the business as well. Yeah.
You don't see that often.
Yeah. In 2011, a really good friend of mine, Rob Deutsch, who was one of the foremost bankers that I know, had been working in London, Singapore, Switzerland, here in the US, here in Australia, for some of the largest banks around the world, had lost what I'm sure everyone goes through on a monthly, yearly basis, is that desire, that passion that we all really want, is to, when our eyes open for the first time in the morning, to be able to jump out of bed and really show the passion that we want for whatever we're doing, whatever work we are doing. And he had lost that. So he decided to go back into what was really his passion, which was health and fitness. So he started a group training facility in Paddington, much to everyone's just shock, to be working in the banking industry for the biggest companies around the world, to say, I'm going to go and open up a gym.
Yeah.
It's hard for parents probably to swallow after, 6 to 8 years of tertiary education, then 10 to 15 years in top level of the banking world. But he did. And he kept asking me, Marc, you have to come and try the gym. And I kept saying, group training's not really for me. I wasn't familiar with it. And that's all it was. I just wasn't familiar with it. So I did. I went there to go and support my friend, and immediately I was addicted. Fast forward 12 months after that is, we had the conversation, and along with the other co-founder, Adam Gilchrist, not the cricketer, we founded what's known as F45 today. Adam and Rob are really they were the brains of the operation, and they took F45 to what is now known as the fastest growing franchise in Australia's history. Really super incredible.
Amazing.
And a couple of years into it, they approached me, knowing that I was still working in the family business, but said to me, Mark, we need some assistance. We need you to go and spearhead the US. You know, that's if we can crush the US like we have Australia, it's just an incredible feat.
Can I just ask you a question just there?
Yes.
Just around, there has been so many businesses and companies from Australia trying to break into the US. And I've got to say, there's probably been more unsuccessful stories than successful stories into the US markets, right? Surely for you to take that over there, right? Number one, I've got probably two questions, but let's just ask this one first. But
question one, part A.
Part A, correct. Number one, family business, right? Generations, your father, your grandparents, right? Surely there must be something inside of you going, God, this is like, being Italian too. It's like, it's a very
scary.
Yeah. Really so your family going, I'm walking away to go and try something completely new. What was going through your mind? What was some of the decision-making process around that for you to do this?
Huge mental tug of war, because I had, as I mentioned a little bit earlier about Rob, is I didn't have the passion for real estate that I once did. I used to love it. I used to wake up. I used to love the camaraderie, the friendships that we built, not only with people in my office and clients and with all of the other agents in the area. We used to love a good banter, and we'd catch up for lunches or whatever it may be. And I did. I really loved that. And I think that that's what I still do miss. It's the same thing with school. Nobody actually misses the education.
Yeah.
But we miss sitting down with our friends, having lunch, and talking about things in life that we all love or are in similar, are in common. But I was having that mental hurdle, and one day I just realized that I wasn't seeing the soulful gratification that I really wanted out of my work. I was not seeing it. And I realized that I needed to be passionate about whatever it was that I was doing, because we all can contribute to work. We can contribute to society in some way, but you need to be passionate. You need to have passion for whatever you're doing. And it's a wonderful and potentially a very rare opportunity to be truly passionate about what it is that we're waking up for every day.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky, and whenever any of my friends ask me or anybody asks me for advice, saying that they're not seeing the soulful gratification that they want out of their work, I say to them, I really think that they need to look at the monkey bar effect. Is you can't let go of what you're doing, no matter how much you hate it today, unless you know what it is that you want to do. Because it's easy to say, I'm just going to give up and tomorrow I'll start again. But I fear that that's a really downward spiral. If there's no intent, there's nothing to action afterwards.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate in, I wasn't loving what I was doing, but I didn't realize that the guys who I am now, really proud of what has been built with F45, I didn't realize that they saw me as an asset to the growth of the business. As much as I think I could have been. I just didn't. My blinkers were on. I was looking at real estate. I was looking at my obligation to the family, and I said, when the opportunity came around, again, it was really hard for me because my father had built a business with his family and he had left it to me, and I was in a situation.
So, Mark, sometimes people see things in other people that they don't see in themselves. That's what you're sort of saying, isn't it? And it's good to sometimes, listen to trusted advisors around you, usually your circle. A lot of people blank out to the fact that, that somebody else actually believes in them. So it was a bit of belief that got you. Yeah.
Well, it was that nudge that got that side of my mind working.
Their belief in you.
To say, you have the ability of being able to speak to people. You have the ability you have a great salesmanship experience. Well, I think that.
Yeah.
17 years in real estate.
Yeah. So it is really a sales business. You're selling a service, isn't it? Really.
So I run the US sales basically for franchising. We've now awarded over 450 in the US itself in just over 24 months. We're 1,300 studios strong across the world in 37 countries. It is nothing but a success story.
Can you maybe for the crew? I mean, I'm a part-time gym attendee, so as you can tell. So for those that are running, just to understand, there's a lot of brands in you. You're no different to us, right? There's a number of brands in the marketplace. Like a Fitness First, Vision, etc.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like us. There's the Ray Whites, Hookers, Rain and Horns, the whole group. How do you? What does F45 done to stand out? Why is it the fastest growing brand?
I actually don't think we have a competitor. That's number one. We have a unique selling
So
proposition.
you're swimming in a different lane to the others? Would that be the best way to put it?
A couple of the gyms that you mentioned are big box. You know, they prey on people to sign up and don't attend more than once every 3 months.
Yep.
You know, it's cheap enough that people
Different model.
are going to discard the money that's coming out of their account, and it's not. You know, everyone always says to themselves, "I've got to get back to the gym." You know,
because you guys aren't cheap.
we're not. We're
So have you,
My wife's a member. I see the bank account.
so have you positioned yourself price-wise away from everyone else?
We're the most expensive
just for the
product in the
people that
marketplace.
don't understand what. Okay, and for that you're offering obviously results.
Yep.
It's got to be result-based.
Innovation, results,
And
we're very motivating. So, you know, when we look at members coming into our studio, our memberships are not 10,000 strong. The studios that we have are 250 to 350 members, based around community.
Okay.
You know, there is, and the unique selling proposition with F45 is our technology systematically navigates people through the studio, so that the trainers themselves, which for far too long were, you know, they were tired of being tired of waking up at ungodly hours of the morning, going to sleep at ungodly hours of the morning, and thinking to themselves, how am I going to create change in my workouts that's going to not be monotonous? You know, we have created all of that. We have over 4,000 exercises in the F45 TV platform that are constantly varied in our workouts to ensure you never go in and see the same workout twice.
Wow, okay. So you're keeping your people that are at the front line fresh.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
The trainers are going in there. They don't have to worry about any of the innovation anymore. They go in there.
And they're not getting into a repetitive sort of situation where they can't perform at their best,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's been an incredible journey. The product just keeps getting better and better. And that's another thing is you can't sit still in any business.
Okay.
You can't think to yourself, I am great, or the business is great, or what we're doing is we're performing well. Let's play defense and let's make sure that we're keeping what we have.
So how did the US respond to an Aussie coming over, entering the market? Was that like, we've already got this bigger and better already, or how did you, what was the first step to break in?
It was a lot of knocking on doors, a lot of dragging people into the studio to show that it is a very different experience. For the first 8 months, I was living out of a suitcase, staying in hotels and Airbnbs, and flying people around the country to the closest studio so I could meet them there, so that they could experience. You know, to speak to somebody over the phone is very different to.
And I imagine there'd be a lot of
face-to-face
competition over there as well.
Huge. I mean, it's the biggest marketplace in the world.
Yeah, of course, for everything.
Almost everything. Yeah, that's right. So it was not dissimilar for health and fitness. They have, I mean, everyone's heard of CrossFit. It's 10 to 13,000 studios around the world.
Wow.
But they're affiliates, not a franchised model. We're very different to that. We are not intimidating anyone to walk in. Any walk of life should be able to walk into an F45 studio, start and finish a workout.
Wow.
I've exercised with my mother, who's almost 70.
Wow.
And we can start and finish the products together.
That's all. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So tell me, Mark, you go to the US.
Yes.
Right. You turn up with a suitcase.
Yep.
You've left real estate. Okay. No one's ever heard of F45. Tell me a little bit about the beginning, the early part of going into the States. What did you actually do? Like, did you go and knock on people's gyms and go, come in, we've got a great product? Or
first there was advertising. So it was to try and get the lead generation to come my way. So I looked at traditional ways of doing that. It was advertising through all of the platforms of franchise sales. Turned out they weren't necessarily the best, but the money had to be spent there to test the marketplace for where I was going to lead gen. I mean, I had a great coach in real estate, Claudio, who told me you can't. Why is everyone laughing at that?
It was just a rap for him.
Thank you. I'll take that.
He started the laughing.
You know, it was. I had to have a couple of different arms of advertising out there, so I had to knock on a lot of gyms' doors, see how they're performing, whether or not they're ready to potentially flip over to what we still believe is the best product in the world. We advertised in every medium of advertising for franchise sales. We looked at social media platforms to try and get that lead gen coming in. What we call the tipping point here in Australia was when we had 30 studios opened. Once we had 30 studios open, it was very easy for people to actually go into a studio and see what F45 is, and the organic nature that leads came in from members themselves wanting to bring F45 into their lives was incredible. There are so many what we call corporate refugees, people who for far too long have been sitting behind a desk tapping away at their keys, doing what they thought they were supposed to be doing without passion in their work.
A robotic style.
Yeah, and so many of those had become a member of F45 and said, I love what this does for me, and I want to bring this to my life, and I want to bring it to other people's lives.
Wow.
And that tipping point or hockey stick effect, where it just ticks up.
Yeah.
In Australia, it came at 30 studios.
Right.
In America, we believe that tipping point is going to be 300 studios.
Right.
When we have 300 studios. So
How many you got now there in the States?
We've sold 450 in the US, but we have 180 opened today.
Wow, that's amazing.
So we're awarding anywhere between 30 and 50 studios a month.
Have you connected with Aussies over there as well? Is that something you've tried to do?
Not necessarily. I mean, they come organically.
Okay.
They do.
There's a lot of Aussies that are living in the States that are familiar with...
Yeah.
Because that'd be a part of your clients, wouldn't it? You'd imagine?
A very small part.
Okay.
A very small part.
Yeah.
But, a lot of Australians here, because we're at capacity here in Australia, we've awarded just under 600 studios here in Australia. We have a lot of Australians.
East Coast, West Coast, the whole lot?
In the US
in
or here?
Australia?
Yeah, everywhere.
Perth, everywhere? Okay,
everywhere.
wow.
Rural.
Wow.
Cities, Tasmania, even in Randwick.
Amazing. Good old Randwick, man. Don't bag Randwick out.
I love Randwick.
It's got some of the biggest places in Australia. Prince of Wales. So we've got light rail in about 3 years. We'll have light rail.
Are you sure 3 years is realistic?
Maybe, I don't know. It's been, they said 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Phenomenal story. So why don't we open up to these guys, because we've got some special guests here. So we'll start with Clinton. We'll go around through my left here. So Clinton, do you want to ask Marc a question?
So,
Since it is the mentors, it's about asking questions.
No pressure.
well, I'm thinking as you start to scale a business, right? You just landed in America. You were about to embark on this journey. Where did you start? How did you go from one to many? And what kind of mindset did that take to make sure that you hit the nail on the head and executed?
So we were really excited and not aggressive, but we were anxious to start planting the F45 seed across the country. So we didn't have, a strategic position of saying we're going to open up in just Los Angeles or we're just going to open up in New York City. We thought to ourselves when the expansion happened is how do we get on the front of mind for every single person in marketplace? So one of the CEOs, Adam Gilchrist, he cold called the Dallas Mavericks and he said, we want to create an event with you guys. We want to partner with you and we want to sell franchises to your potential members, to networks inside of your community. But firstly, we want to meet with Mark Cuban. So we did.
Wow.
So we went, in real estate, it's the hardest part. It's picking up the phone and making that call.
Yeah, correct.
It's not dissimilar in any other business in the world. Picking up the phone. That's
Mark
half the
Cuban.
battle. So in January of 2017, we partnered with Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks to do a one-day event to sell F45 franchises to season ticket holders, to the network of Mark Cuban, and basically expand F45's brand presence in Texas. The event had over 200 people that turned up to it in search of an entrepreneurial future or to buy a business. And we ended up taking 40 reservations for people to buy an F45 franchise. It was the best way that we could ever start our US expansion. And then from the success of that, when you have somebody like Mark Cuban putting his stamp of approval on a business, people are going to listen. When you have somebody like Coach...
I just remember the Entourage and the... what was it? The...
Avion.
Avion.
Yeah. When you have somebody like Coach Carlisle, who is the coach of the Dallas Mavericks, going and speaking to the product of what it is that you're providing to the general public, again, it speaks volumes. So to have those two people, speaking about F45 and saying, we believe in this, it was an easier task than I had been knocking on doors and asking people if they'd come to a studio with me about buying a franchise. From that, we ended up partnering with the Brooklyn Nets, the Philadelphia 76ers, having people like Joel Embiid as one of our ambassadors. We had...
brand awareness.
It was huge. It was huge. Miami Dolphins and the Denver Broncos were all affiliates or we were the official training partners of all of those organizations in 2017, which absolutely just exploded the brand in the US. People started really talking about who we are. And from that, that the organic nature of leads coming in was far easier than advertising through normal mediums. And the lesson we learned is it's not as simple as opening up a book and starting to make calls. That's important. but you need to always think outside of the square because everyone is trying what you're doing.
Cool. Thomas, got a question there for my friend Mark?
The inclusiveness of F45, I think that's a big thing because anyone can go there. And I think it's an important thing for people in real estate that are running businesses to create a culture that feels like it's not elitist.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you guys decided to get on that angle, or how do you guys keep that in that way with the people that are running the franchises, keeping that sort of culture?
Yeah, so the community aspect of F45 has been one of our biggest successes, let alone the brand pushing to these new heights in the franchise world. The community aspect has been incredible. I mean, we want people to see change. We want to help people. That's why people get involved in health and fitness in the first place, is they have a passion for being active. And with F45, these group classes, making sure there's no mirrors in the studios, are small things that we want to do so that you're training with a team. You're not training by yourself in a mirror, making sure that you're doing what you can for yourself. We have a lot of partnered activities. We create group awareness outside of the studios themselves with things like the F45 playoffs. I don't know if you've seen that. We had it here in Bondi Beach. Yeah, and they're great events for the community. It's not only for F45 studios to create teams that they can go and have that fun outside of the studio. But it is a huge part of what we're doing, is making sure that our studios themselves understand when we're creating our induction or our orientation into F45, the community is a huge part of that. Because if you can change somebody's life by shedding that 10 kilos that they've always wanted to be shed, and they're creating new relationships from that, they're going to be your best ambassador. Yeah.
And how do you choose your partners and your franchise partners to come on? Is there anything that you're specifically looking for?
So our franchisees are, about 50%, just under 50% are personal trainers who have never had that yellow brick road paved for them as to how to operate a business. Their passion is in the right place, but they didn't have somebody saying to them, well, this is how you can set up your business to make sure that you're running a very profitable organisation. We have a huge percentage of them that are that corporate refugee or investor who love health and fitness but are doing something that they're not passionate about. And then we have a very small percentage of a franchisee who is the athlete. Especially here in Australia. It's not the same in America, but here in Australia you have the professional athlete that their career ends potentially at 26 to 30 years old. They don't necessarily have any tertiary education. So what is it that they do after it? How do they use their skill set in creating wealth or making sure that they still can go about their daily life? And health and fitness is a perfect plug-in for them because they can use the cachet behind their name if they've created one. We have a huge number of former NRL players, of AFL players, soccer players here in Australia that are actually franchisees. Yeah, so...
Wow.
Yeah.
It's big.
Amazing. Fane, over to you. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
You want to put the microphone there? Here we go. Over to
Fane Levy.
If you're looking for a home loan.
Yeah, so obviously a great story that you've got here, and I've followed it from the start, knowing you personally for quite some time. I was thinking, what does the future hold in terms of diversification as such? Obviously from gyms, is it going to go into active wear or equipment or anything like that?
Constantly looking at other forms of adding to what is already a successful business, especially for our franchisees. We've just launched in Australia what we call F45X, which is a new franchise platform. Franchisees themselves, when we go to the gym or when anybody goes to the gym, it's normally before work, after work, or if we're lucky enough at lunchtime. But that means that there are hours of the day that people are paying for their rent, or the franchisees are paying for rent but not actually being able to amortize any of those hours. So we've created F45X, which is for children 11 to 17, and for what we've called F45 Masters for over 60-year-olds, so that we can actually activate 18 hours of the day in the use of an F45 studio for members of all ages. We want from the age of 11 people to be infected with the F45 desire, and for them to be able to use the facilities in perpetuity. We are in the throes of a couple of, it'll probably happen by the time this podcast comes out, but there's a couple of really great collaborations that we're doing with activewear that will be out, I'd say, pretty close to.
You got some tights for me?
I just can't talk about it.
It's on my way. I need some new tights.
But there's so many different avenues of where F45 can go. I mean, not only for the growth, we're in 37 countries around the world, and we believe we're only 10% into this business. We think that there's, the runway is still very long for where we can take this product.
Huge potential.
Yeah. I mean, in the US, we have 450 awarded. We believe that we can award 6,000 in the US.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you got a time frame that you want to try achieve that in?
No, there's no rush. Absolutely no rush. We don't want to, overstep the mark and do something that we're not going to be proud of, and we definitely don't want to tarnish the brand. We believe that we have an incredible product that people love. We've changed a lot of people's lives, not only on the client or consumer level, but also for the entrepreneurs that didn't know what they wanted to do in life. So we want to make sure that we're still step by step.
It's fantastic.
Amazing. I don't know. Has anyone got any other further questions? I'm just in awe here at the moment. Just
Thanks,
thinking.
Chris.
I'm just. It's an amazing story because to see you from your humble beginnings, and the beautiful thing is you've remained humble. You get a lot of real estate agents get egos, and no ego here, but just remained humble. And it's been a humbling experience having you drop by here to join the mentors and all of us here this afternoon. And because I know you've got a very, very busy schedule. You're only here for a week, and then you're taking off, having some well-deserved break before you head back to the US and spearhead some more franchises, it sounds like, and continue this amazing story and growth that you guys are for yourself and Rob Deutsch and Adam. Are just an amazing story. Just can't wait to see it on 60 Minutes one day and watch it on there. From me to you, mate, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
I think we've all learnt a lot here. Just one final question.
Yes.
So what is the value of 45 today? You did give me a figure when we were in LA last year.
No, I didn't.
And he won't say it no. Oh, we nearly got it.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.
Mark, thank you so much.
I
really appreciate you having here, mate. And get on with your day. But thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Listeners, there you go. Another wrap. Amazing story. Make sure you please share it, make comments. And if you've got a question for the mentors, you know where to head out on our social media platforms. We'd love to hear some feedback. It's all up to you. Thank you so much. And we'll catch you on the next episode of The Mentors.
Got something great from this episode? It would mean the world to us if you passed it on. Tune in each week as we mentor a new agent. Have a question? Want to be on the show? Get in touch with Claudio Encina, Matt LaHood, or visit our Facebook page. The Mentors is brought to you by Sprinkler.media.